I'm Delta Work, and this is Very Delta. Today on the show, I'm joined by Danny Franzese. We chat about sausage. Yes, Jesus! But first, do you want to see me go off? Because I think you want to see me go off.
Oh. Mom!
Are you a lady like me? Introspective, beautiful. Oh, are you intellectual like me? Beguiled by a bargain? You like wild times? Oh, like me? Are you serving the community like me? Well, if you are, then you must be very Delta.
I'm Delta Work, and this is Very Delta, a luxury public access podcast and YouTube talk show where I look gorgeous, speak extemporaneously, and invite fascinating people to sit on the couch and get very Delta. Very Delta is for the woman who holds the space for lipstick colors like auburn and persimmon. But first, let's get into some things that are very Delta. The Atlanta airport is not playing with you hoes. The Atlanta airport has everything on lock. I was just at the Atlanta airport. It had been a minute since I had been there. And let me tell you something. Everyone needs to just follow the Atlanta airport. Every place in the country, every LAX, every Salt Lake, every one of them needs to do what they're doing at the Atlanta airport. First of all, the drop-off and pickup is so streamlined. And the reason it's so streamlined is because they have officers out there. I don't know if they're city police officers or they're just officers as part of the Hartfield, whatever the name of the airport is. But they are out there. And if you pull up and you are not actively loading or unloading, they're tapping on the car. Come on. They're tapping on the car. You need to go. Out of here, go to the cell phone lot, circle around, do something. They're not allowing you to just pull up and go, well, I guess I'll just wait for my passenger. It doesn't work that way. LAX swears that they're doing all these renovations and they're making everything right. And they pushed everybody from the inner curb to the outer curb. And none of this was going to happen. Every time I go to LAX, people pull right up in the middle of everything and they just wait like they have no idea. Just, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm waiting for someone and no one says shit to them. What is going on at LAX where they cannot figure out that you need to tell people, come on, move. But everyone blocks everything and everyone's going this way and that way and no loading at the yellow curb, no farting on the white curb. Like it's all these like things that they're saying, but they're not enforcing any of it. Atlanta, they are not playing around. They are letting you know. In fact, I was at my gate waiting 2 hours early. I know I'm crazy. Waiting at the gate 2 hours early. And I hear on the intercom, if you drive a white blah, 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 blah car, you're blocking traffic. Move your car. 2 seconds later, if you abandon your car, you leave your car there, they are calling you out or they are towing shit. I love that about the Atlanta airport. You know what else I love at the Atlanta airport? I love soda options. I went over by my gate. There's tons of food. It's a huge airport. You know what I mean? 75 million football fields or whatever, however big it is. There's something to eat and something to drink everywhere. And I went into this little shop and let me tell you something. I got a sandwich and a soda and they had the Coke machine there where you could fill it yourself, right? Now, don't get me wrong. It was a smallish cup, but I liked the fact that I could fill it up with ice and I could go back and refill. So I stationed myself. I was like, this is going to be the spot. You got a lot of time to wait. You can slip in there and get your refill and come back if you need to. Or just, you know what I do? I fill it up with ice and then I just buy a bottle. That way I don't have to go bother anybody. I can just pour the bottle while I'm waiting in the 2 hours and then that bottle will be gone. Love Atlanta Airport for having all of these food options. Subway with the big Subway soda cups. The bagel shop, the Auntie Anne's, oh my gosh, they have them all. You know what else they have? They have a tram that takes you from one spot to the other. And outside that tram, it says, this tram is going to take you to baggage or the F gates or the whatever gates. But this over here is going to be a 5-minute walk. So you decide, would you prefer to walk? Do you need to walk? Could you benefit from the walk? Or are you going to say, fuck the bullshit. I'm just going to get on this tram and it's going to take me right to my spot. Now listen, Atlanta Airport is also the hub, like the location, like the main spot for Delta Airlines. I mean, nothing is better, right? I mean, you want to fly one of the big major airlines, but Delta Airlines is everywhere. So when I see my name, I know I'm in the right spot. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be good. I love that. And what I also love is I was on a different airline, a totally reputable airline, but the lady working at the gate, she wasn't playing either. She said, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to be boarding our flight in 15 minutes. The first group I'm going to call are going to be the pre-boards. If you are not in a wheelchair, if you do not need extra time because maybe you walk a little slower or you have a lot to carry or you have your reasons, you do not need to be in the boarding area. You can sit down, you can stand to the side, but we're not going to be right here where everyone's walking in. And you know what she said? Say it with me. We are only boarding pre-boards. And she went like this. We are only boarding pre-boards. So everybody repeated it. So nobody came up in that space, that gate lice. That's what they call it, gate lice. When people come in there, they hang out. Well, I'm boarding group 6. And we didn't ask for 6. We still have to do 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and the pre-boards. And you think you want to hang in there. Why? Because sometimes they might just say, oh, you were in here and you're number 6. Well, it's okay. You can come in. She told you. Repeat it to me. We're doing group 1. Now, everybody, group 1. And when you go in, she said, this is what we're going to do. When I call your group and you come up, I want you to tell me your last name and your seating assignment. And then I want you to show me your boarding pass. She said, how is it? Last name, seat assignment, boarding pass. Because what we were trying to do is make up for lost time. The plane got in a little bit late. She's basically telling you, listen, you're going to get on the plane. We're not going to, if you're in this area, we're not going to leave without you. But you fuck things up for everyone. And you make these gate agents seem mean when you don't listen to just the basic, simple things. It says up there what group is boarding. So why would you just hang out there? So then we get on the plane and people are milling around and they want to go over here. And the flight attendant grabs the microphone and says, listen, if you have to go to the bathroom, we are going to wait until the plane is in the air and is at a cruising altitude. We're not walking past everyone who's boarding to go to the bathroom. Here's the thing. You've been waiting in the airport this whole time. Now, I understand maybe you have a urinary tract infection or whatever it is. I personally, I don't want to have to use the bathroom on the plane. I will. It's not a problem. It's no issue. However, I know a lot of other people are going to be moving around and doing all that kind of shit. I would rather wait by the bathroom and drain every ounce of water and Diet Coke from my bladder. I want to void my bladder as many times as possible before I get on that plane. If I need to drop a heat stick, I'm telling you right now, I'm blowing it out in the bathroom in the airport. Okay? I have my wipies. I'm going to do my due diligence. If I need to drop a heat stick, if I need to blow a dookie into that fucking toilet, I'm not going to wait for everybody to be boarding and be like, excuse me, I need to get through here. I need to go to the bathroom. We haven't even taken off. They haven't even done they don't play at the Atlanta airport. They are not playing. And I'm not saying that airplane was the Atlanta airport. I'm just saying everybody in there, it just rubbed off. It just rubbed off and everyone knew what they were doing. They are not playing. I don't know why it's so hard for all of these other airports to just institute a rule. Hey, move your car. Because I can't tell you how many times I'll go. And people just pull up and they're looking on their phone. And here's what we're not doing. This is what we're not doing. Atlanta airport or anywhere else. Stop coming off the airplane and making out with people at the fucking pickup. Don't come out there and go, oh, no one cares. I get it. You haven't seen them in forever and you want to make a TikTok video, all that stuff. I get it. But when you do that, you've decided for everybody else, everyone will wait for me. Everyone will wait for me. I'm the only car here that matters. I'm the only person who's tired. I'm the only one. Fuck that. Get your ass in the car and go. I don't understand when people show up and they're like, oh, hey, Carol, we're over here. And Carol comes over. Oh, my God, look at the baby, how you've grown. Oh, look at the, oh, for God's sake, enough. This is a matter of security. This is a matter of safety. We all want to go home. We're all tired. Not just you. We all want to get to the next spot. You know what I'm saying? But when you're doing all this hugging and going, oh, well, where should we put the bag? How should we do the bag? Oh my God, I didn't see you there. Hi. Enough. One person comes to the airport to pick somebody up. When you tell them, you have to wait in the cell phone lot. You have to circle around. You can't just wait and go, well, I know their plane came off, so they should be here. When somebody gets off of a plane and gets their bags and comes to the curb and you pick them up, just from landing alone to the pickup is at least minimum half an hour. I'm telling you right now, you know this. If you're listening to me, you know this. Maybe in a little airport, it's a little bit different. But if you're going to a big airport, they're going to have to bring the bags off. And then they're going to say, oh, no, it's going to be at carousel 5, not 4. And you've been waiting at 5. And then you got to go over and get your bags and you have to come out. Don't be calling people and saying, all right, come out of the cell phone lot. The plane just landed. They need to wait there and you call them once you grab your bags. And then you go out and you're going to have to wait. I don't know why everybody thinks that, oh, well, it's not as easy. I mean, I don't want to wait that long. Hey, that's part of travel. That's just the way it is. For this to run efficiently for everyone has to suck it up a little bit. So stop thinking like, oh, I'm going to, well, when we land, you know, I mean, I guess, I don't know, I'll just sit over here and I'll drink a coffee on the curb and I'll wait and I'm going to hold my coffee like this. Hi. Oh, I'm over here. Oh, well, where's my things? Let me sort through my purse and let me do this. Get your ass moving. We all want to go home. Stop. Fuck. Atlanta Airport has it together. Atlanta, you win the award. I should have had my award here. I'm going to start giving out awards. It's not going to be just an award season. It's going to be all year is award season. Atlanta wins the award for the airport that doesn't take any bullshit. The airport that is trying to get you from point A to point B. And they also win the award for the airport that understands that the destination is in fact more important than the journey sometimes. Do you want to see me take a break? Because I think you want to see me take a break. Today's guest is phenomenal. He's an actor, a comedian, and you may know him from his iconic role in Mean Girls as Damien. You go, Glen Coco. It's Danny Franzese.
It's me. I can't believe I'm here. This is like the Make a Fish Foundation.
I'm not Make a Fish.
I'm just so excited that I'm here. This is like my...
I'm so happy you're here. I adore you. You're always so supportive of me. And I remember the last time we had a one-on-one chit chat was in Long Beach.
Mm-hmm. Your birthday.
Yeah, you came out, showered me with gifts, including the most enormous bottle of perfume. And I was very, very grateful.
Well, you know, I had brought a gift this time and I wasn't going to open the show with a gift, but okay. You mentioned that I brought you a big bottle of Elizabeth Taylor perfume.
You did.
Yes. So I'm an ambassador for Elizabeth Taylor AIDS Foundation. Mm-hmm. My role on HBO's Looking led to me doing activism for people with HIV AIDS. And Miss Taylor has a tireless legacy. So I brought my little happy smiley face bag with me.
Which I adore.
I need you to close your eyes, though.
Okay, I'm closing my eyes.
Yeah. So I did bring you a present.
Can I look?
Yeah, you can look.
Okay.
Okay, so I did bring you a present.
Okay.
And this is because you bring so much joy to so many people, Delta. I just want to say that I watch the show all the time. This is like, I'm one of those people that are sitting there when it's like, it's about to air and the ticker's going on, like late at night. And I've come home from the gig and I'm just like waiting to hear you go off.
Thank you.
And so on behalf of me and Elizabeth Taylor, the Elizabeth Taylor Trust and the House of Miss Taylor and all of her grandchildren and all of the staff there, I would like to gift you with the entire collection of Elizabeth Taylor fragrances.
You have to be crazy.
And not only that, but this is coming from Miss Taylor herself. This is from her trust and from the House of Taylor. And
you have to be insane.
It's the complete line. Ever since I've seen this show, I've had a dream of gifting this to you, and they made my dream come true of giving you the entire collection of Miss Taylor's fragrances, which, by the way, a portion of the proceeds all go to the AIDS Foundation. So it's really great to promote them and wear them.
I am so stunned right now. Oh my.
Yeah, there's even the men's in there.
I'm
Everything's
looking
in
at
there.
that here. So I've never ever I didn't even
Some
know.
of them are so rare. I
Yeah.
couldn't even believe that we got every one. But
I cannot believe Love and White Diamonds is in here. Sparkling White Diamonds is in here. Brilliant White Diamonds is in here. White Diamonds Legacy is I'm addicted to right now, and I only have a little tiny. I am addicted to that. I won't.
And it's all the big bottles. Can you believe? Like they do it right. It's Miss Taylor.
I cannot. I don't even think I can unpackage this. Honestly.
Oh, please do.
It
Please
has
do.
to remain this way. I am gagged.
Good.
This is whoa. This is fucking.
That should carry you
cool.
for like a couple years.
This is so cool. Thank you so much.
Yeah, it means a lot to me because honestly, you really do bring me so much joy, truly. And then this is what I really wanted to talk about.
Okay, I'm listening.
This is a greeting card, but I remember you talked on one episode about greeting cards.
Breeding cards.
Greeting cards.
Oh, I like breeding cards.
Oh, I
as
love
well.
a greeting card. But this one is this is my greeting card hack.
Okay, tell me.
Okay,
I'm listening.
So you were saying that you spend on a premium greeting card, right? So here you can have this here, and so I picked out a greeting card for you.
Can I open it?
Yeah, I didn't seal it because that's part of the hack. You'll see. This me and my sister invented this.
Tough cookie. Someone who doesn't crumble under pressure. Someone who stays true to themselves. Someone who won't let the world get them down. Oh, that is smart.
Isn't it good?
Oh.
The note is on the inside on a card, and then you could re-gift the card.
That is brilliant.
Double your money.
That is brilliant.
And me and my sister do that for people, and then those people do the same thing, and the card lives on, so you don't mind spending the $9 if you know it's going to bring many people joy.
God, you're smart. You're generous. This is the way to kick off the show.
What a great way to start.
It is.
I was going to do that at the end, but look, you brought it out of me.
I mean, it was my fault. Really, it was my fault.
Blame you.
There's something that I feel like if we don't just get right into it, we would be crazy. You love mozzarella.
Oh, yeah.
How do I properly say it?
Well, and in New York, they say mozzarella. They cut off the last end.
Why do they do that?
I think it's like a colloquialism. Like, it's actually very weird because New Yorkers have ruined the Italian language. There's like Italio-American, which is its own like idiosyncratic dialogue, I believe, which I'm an expert on. However, when I go to Italy and I try to say it, they're like, hey, why are you cutting off at the last vowel? Why do you do that? I must sound like some hick. Like when I go there, So now I'm Duolingoing and I'm realizing that everything I said my whole life has been wrong. But I don't know why I was I have to trust Italians on how to speak correctly either because my grandfather could never do it.
Right.
My sister would jump in the pool and he'd be like, she swims so well, she's mayonnaising. Like, or he'd be like my brother's football game and instead of focus, he'd be like, fuck us! Fuck us!
I love that.
And I'd be like, calm down, grandpapa.
And you've been to Italy before.
I have.
clearly.
And I'm working on my dual citizenship. I'm almost there. I'm like
Wow.
really close. I'm waiting for my appointment at the consulate. I did all the paperwork. It was years.
Everyone always says, like with Mexican food, there's things that we eat here that are absolutely just not a thing in Mexico. You know what I'm saying? So obviously the typical American would be like, well, we go to Olive Garden. That's what you're going to eat when you go to Italy.
Yeah, I have heard you talk about Olive Garden before.
Right.
That's definitely a source of contention. And
tell me all of it.
I won't eat, we don't have fettuccine Alfredo. That's like not a thing,
right.
And like there's a lot of other things that are just not things that they make up, And I'm actually not that interested in Italian food unless I'm in Italy or it's my mama. Save it.
What about if you go to a restaurant? What's a good go-to restaurant for you? Type of food doesn't have to be the place.
I mean, I love Asian food. I love Asian food. I like me some sushi.
I don't know enough about sushi to properly order, so I feel like I have to go with somebody who knows. This is what you have to have. This is the things to try.
It took a while for me to get used to it. The first time I ate sushi, I was disgusted. I had no idea what I was doing. It was
really?
Like some guy I was dating convinced me to go, and I was like, okay, but now I love it. It's just you have to grow your palate.
You order it in a roll, correct?
Yeah.
And how many pieces come in a roll? Just depends on how you cut it.
It just depends. Yeah, they roll it and they'll cut it. It's usually like 6. you know?
Okay.
Yeah, and you can get like a mega one that's like 8 maybe, like a big one. And then they have specialty rolls. You're making my mouth water, girl.
That sounds so good. We should go there.
We should.
Anywhere.
I'll go anywhere with you.
I love that.
Ready? I'll go right now.
If we went, I mean, how often, it's got to happen to you all the time, that people will see you and they'll immediately start quoting you from Mean Girls. Does it happen all the time?
Yeah, I get recognized every
It
day.
does,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're so recognizable anyway. You have a very recognizable face. You're very good looking.
Mm-hmm.
You're very tall. So people are going to,
Yeah, I was saying to Gabby Sidibe one time, like that if they ever did one of those shows where it's just like, even when I was on Celebrity Drag Race, it's just a silhouette of us or me, like, it's me. It's like, who's this 6'5" giant guy? Like, it's obviously me. Like, I'm not gonna like hide, you know what I mean, who I am anywhere.
Yeah.
It was difficult when I was in the closet because it was in the closet during Mean Girls and for years after that.
Oh, okay.
And that always made me like anxious, like, because I felt like people were trying to fuck with my money. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, people would be like, oh, are you gay? And I'd be like, no. And they'd be like, oh, you're so talented. And then if I was like gay, they'd be like, I knew it, only a gay guy. And then it was like, only a gay guy could play that. And
oh, wow.
my comic timing or any of that was like not considered. It was just basically like, oh.
Right.
So I used to get like really defensive about it. And also, I auditioned for this movie. It said, lovable, doughy, blue-collar, big lug of a guy. And I was like, that's me. That's like everything I played before I played Damien. And I was like, oh man, I can't wait to audition for this. And they wouldn't even let me audition.
Why?
They were like, we love Daniel. We think he's a great actor, but we want a man's man. And I was like, well, how about you see me audition?
Right.
And it was also like, to my knowledge, it was even a queer casting director. So it's just kind of really annoying that I was getting pigeonholed all the time. And
I wonder about that.
to this day, I don't really get many straight auditions. And it's before Mean Girls, I was, up for Entourage. I was up for Sopranos. And that's really like what I was doing, and now it's like, it's a little more difficult. I've always got to prove myself it's what everything I do. I got to prove myself.
How do you even cope with that? The fact that you're not even get the chance to show your acting chops in certain.
It's interesting that
realms.
you say that, because I feel like if I would have gotten everything that I wanted, I probably wouldn't have done everything I've done.
Wow.
Like, I've written musicals and I have a podcast and now I'm making music and I've been in plays, and would I've done all of that? I don't know. If I would have taken the time to do all of those different things, had it wouldn't been for artistic frustration or like trying to express myself in another way or prove myself.
Right.
Even stand-up I've been doing stand-up a little over 10 years now, and it's like, getting into it, they're like, you're a famous movie actor already, like, get in line, like they want to, like, even the comedy clubs like didn't want to pass me because there's people who that's all their whole life is comedy, and I get that, but like, so's mine in a different, it's just another expression of it. And I had to really prove myself doing stand-up until I was able to get some of the same things that other people were able to get.
Right.
And then in other ways I was able to fast track shit too, but
really,
yeah, like I'd go to like an open mic and they'd be like, what are you doing here? They're like, okay, you can go up next, and I understand that people were waiting all night for that, but I'm like, also I busted my ass for 20 years to be able to skip the line at the open mic, like, so I don't feel too bad about that. And I also would like, be like to whoever's hosting the open mic, what's your favorite drink? I got you, I know how to grease a palm. That's another Italian thing.
Yeah.
Everybody gets some.
I mean, those skills are skills that you learn from watching people, studying people, listening to people, not just hearing them, but listening to what they have to say and why they say it that way. I really feel like culturally, when you identify with people that are very rich in the way that they say things and the way that they mean things, there's no way you couldn't apply it to your life, right?
Well, I really identify with what you were saying on another one of your episodes. I'm like, this is the super fan like recap episode where you were talking about your aunties and stuff and how they like use their hands to speak.
Yeah.
That's very much how I grew up too. I loved the way they would tap things with their nails or move things around. Like, I was always like so enthralled by like character work and like what they would do with all of that stuff. I mean, that's why I play my mom in sketches and stuff, because I can.
Right.
It's I got her. That's actually my favorite thing I do is the shit Italian mom say gigs where I play my mom, because it's like a prank on her. Like, like I got her, and she loves it.
And then how much of that do you think is in Donna Bellissima?
Less, because I was already doing Italian mom, so I wanted Donna Bellissima to kind of be like me. Like, I struggled with being gay like for a long time. I think it was a weird thing for me. Part of it was now that we're realizing our beautiful gender spectrum, and how like I feel sad for people when they don't see the whole spectrum. Like, when they just see like the color red and not rose or persimmon or the beautiful shades of our gender and sexuality expressions, right? And I'm like, that's your life. Your life is just those primary colors. Like, good luck. You know, you're not seeing anything. And I think for me, I was bi-romantic. Like, I was really falling in love with the women that I was dating in college and in high school. I was loving these girls, and I saw myself with a future with them, and I'd want to kiss them, but then I wouldn't want to do anything else.
Right.
You know, and then like the first time I kissed a guy, it was like Tom and Jerry, like we're like, you know, like I'm like electrocuted, like in a straight line, like, you know, my lips are only connected. I was like, oh, this is what it's about. Like,
sure.
So for me, it took so long to wrestle with that. I also, like you were saying with the code switching and the things like that, I never really felt like I identified with the people that were around me that were out at the time.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a little difficult for me, you know, and so it was frustrating. I went to conversion therapy, all these other things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I put myself in.
Oh, you put yourself
Well,
in
we didn't know that's what it was. It didn't have a name like reparative or conversion therapy.
Uh-huh.
And I was just like, I just want to go to a therapist and get diagnosed as gay. Like, that's like what I wanted, you know? And I was in there very, like, it was like 6 months, and I was like, okay, I'm leaving. Like, I get this now. Like, they made me take like a test. And the test was like, oh, have you ever stolen anything over $500? Oh, have you ever, you know, contemplated taking your life? Do you think dicks are pretty? You know, and like every third one was like,
wow.
And I was like, every third question's a gay question. Like, I was like, I see what's going on here, but I answered honestly. And once I figured out that God loved me anyway, I went out and lost my virginity like that night, like, and quit going to therapy.
And how old were you at that time?
21, 22. Yeah.
Oh, so you can share the loss of your virginity story if you want.
It wasn't special, sadly. I wish it was more special. That's what I do recommend to anyone that's going through the journey and thinks that my journey is some sort of inspiration. Make it be, at least the first time should maybe be special if you can do that nowadays. Mm-hmm. But for me, it was an experiment. I actually like hooked up with someone online that I wasn't attracted to on purpose to try to figure out, let's see what this is.
Can this work?
Yeah, because why would I want to mess it up with a guy I thought was hot and want to see again?
Right.
I was like, so let me go with someone that I could just like tolerate. And I was like, this feels really good, but not with this person.
Sure. Well, I mean, yeah. I mean, everybody comes from a different space and a different place. And like your mind's still going, I'm sure, in circles at that time.
Yeah. And I'm like very much a lover. Mm-hmm. Like, and I joke in my stand-up that people always want me to be a dom top and I'm more of a mom top. I'm like, put on a jacket, eat a sandwich. You know?
I love
Make
that.
sure you're home by 11.
I've never heard anybody phrase it that way. I love that.
Yeah.
Let's take a break. Delta Works fast food recommendation of the week. Go to Jack in the Box. Order a 3-piece egg roll, but skip the sweet and sour sauce. You're going to order 1 teriyaki tub and 1 ranch tub. I would never steer you wrong. We are back with Danny talking about a little bit of everything. Here's something I want to know. What's the most Italian thing about you?
That I'm loud. Like
Really?
People don't understand. I can't really date too many white people anymore. Sometimes it gets hard. You know?
Okay.
Like, because I'm like, olives matter. Do you know what I'm saying? Olives matter. Like, don't forget. Like, why can't I check like Mediterranean or like olive? You know what I mean? There should be like a little category. Yeah. Because I brought sausage and peppers to school when I was in 3rd grade and got made fun of. So that doesn't make me white. Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
right.
That, and I talk to my mom probably like 3 times a day. And guys don't get that though. They don't get that. Like, why are you talking to your mom? It's like kind of sick, like, you know, and I'm like, I'm not going to
apologize.
Exactly.
Never.
Hit the road, Jack. Like, I don't even give a shit.
I agree.
That woman is like the stars and the moon to me. I don't even care what you say.
I fucking agree. And my mom will go in circles about bullshit. One of the things that she loves to do is she loves to keep planting stuff. She plants, and she likes to save the containers because she's like, I'm going to use this container like from leftovers.
Sure.
I'm going to use it to create for the seedling, and then I'll throw it away later. And I'm like, Mom, I'll buy you whatever things you want. Like, you don't need to save those. No, there's no sense in wasting. Yeah. We can just use these. And I'm like, Mom, I don't want you, but it's what she wants. You know,
yeah,
and why would I?
That was my whole life. Coffee cans were to hold like screws and all that stuff for sure.
Did your mom ever do the thing with the avocado and the sticks in it and put it in the window?
Right now, there's one in her still.
I'm telling you.
No question.
I know
There's absolutely no question. And she would do the top of the pepper too. She'd take
oh my God, yes.
all those seeds that come out of the pepper. You know? Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. I don't know about the ladies in your family, but the ladies in my family, And again, you know, my family's we're Mexican, so it's not the same thing, but there's still that passion and
Absolutely.
that, right? And so they when they tell stories, I swear it will take at least 3 minutes to get to the story because they'll go. So I says to her just like this. I says, and then she's like, what? Like one will say, what? No, Margie, I says to her just like this. I says, listen, I says to her just like this. And I'm like, how long are you going to say I says?
I live though.
But I live.
I live. Honestly, like I tell stories like that. I tell stories that take forever.
I do too.
I'm like, no, I was going in the store and it's not one of those normal stores. It's like the kind of store where they got the
You
thing.
have to set it up.
And then there was this girl there. She had a green dress on. You want to tell the whole thing, set the scene.
You have to.
And sometimes when I'm stoned, I'll tell my friends, I'm going to tell the long version right now. Especially.
Oh, I bet that's a long fucking story.
Oh, girl.
Tell me about Yas Jesus.
Yeah. So, Yash Jesus is my podcast for those that don't know. It is like an exploration of the intersectionality between sexuality and spirituality, but in a comedic way. And I think a lot of it for me is like the IKEA catalog, okay? So, like, have you heard of IKEA hacking?
Like, what do you mean?
So, like, it's this whole, like, movement where people go and they'll take, like, the Fajorn or the Flugenflurgen or whatever, and they'll be like, I'll take the legs from the Fajorn.
Oh, yes.
And I'll make my own vanity mixing these items together, you know?
Divide rooms.
Right. And I think that's what queer people have done. Like, as if the IKEA catalog was religion. And we've said, we don't need it. You don't want us, we don't want you. And we've made our own things out of all the pieces and all the parts of, like, society and life, right? But now I'm kind of like, but let me see the directions to the Fajorn. Like, maybe I can make something else if I knew what the principles were. You know what I'm saying? So it's just kind of like, I feel like the stories aren't really told all the way. And I don't Bible study, I Bible wonder. I want to, like, smoke a joint and be like, what the heck does this mean? You know?
Do you think Jesus really looked like Kenny Loggins?
I hope so. I don't know, actually. I don't believe in a blonde hair, blue-eyed Jesus from Texas. You
Completely.
know, like the Selma
Completely.
song.
It's like literally
it's like, come
not
on.
possible.
Yeah, like not into that at all. And I do think that there's a lot of things that probably, you know, there's mistranslations. The word homosexual was added to the Bible in 1946.
There's so much to look at with that.
Exactly. So we want to open up all that stuff, you know?
Yeah. And you love telling those stories, which is important.
I do, and I love listening to them, which is why I love listening to you. I think you're a great storyteller.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't even think like the world has tapped into your abilities yet of what you're capable to do with this show.
That's a sweet thing to say.
With the other things that you do, because it's like you have a special natch for being able to just like highlight the mundane and make it so fantastic. You know, like
That's
it's true.
sweet.
I do want to talk to you about that kind of stuff all the time. Like I feel like it's weird, these parasocial relationships too that you have, because I probably feel way closer than the time that we've actually spent together. Although pleasant times every time I see you, you know.
Right.
But I've listened to you talk about all these different things, and like really vibe off that. Like, it gives me life.
Oh, so sweet. That's vibology, Paula Abdul.
Yes.
That
Give me that
vibe.
V-I-me-L-O-G.
What do you think is the most Italian thing about me?
That hair right now.
This hair?
Yeah.
You know, I got to tell you.
It's like Lola LaBrigida. It's giving like,
that's what I was hoping.
Yeah, it's giving like some Sophia Loren moment.
So I was at home and I was like, oh, I got to record this week. And I was like, oh, Danny's coming. And I had 2 black wigs, not short, up here, but they were big. And they had been set on rollers. So I teased them out and they're like, hey. And I was like, I'm going to smooth them. And I kind of want to do just a big something. And then I was like, oh, that's a little bit on the nose to be like, look, you're here. Guess what I'm wearing? And then I was like, no, maybe it's not that. Maybe it's something sleek. And then I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wear what makes me feel good. I don't want to cater to something that seems like the stereotype.
I feel you. Somebody was saying to me, they wanted me to play this Romanian part, and they were like, because you're Italian, you can do this. I would give you the pass to say that you're honorary Italian to me. Like, if I had anything that was Italian, I would cast you. Like,
I love it. You probably don't want to try my Italian pizza dip I make.
Oh, you do? What's in it?
Well, you know what's in it. Nothing Italian. Cream
Raisins?
cheese. No, there's no raisins in it. I hate you.
I can't.
I have space for raisins.
I feel that. Okay, listen, when I went to college at Florida School of the Arts in like North Florida, which oddly, North Florida is way more southern than South Florida.
That's what I've heard.
Yeah, I grew up in like a southern college, so that's where I learned about sweet tea and collard greens and all that stuff. Like, I got all into that. So I also save space for raisins. However, not in an Italian dip, probably.
I don't put them in the Italian dip. I mean, well, you should be whole.
What's like a Mexican thing you rock in the kitchen?
A Mexican thing I rock. I make good beans. Everyone asks me to make my beans, but my beans are very specific because there's a lot of different meat in them. And I don't want to give my recipe away. You can taste it and you would go, oh, I can tell what's in this.
Okay.
So if you ate it, you would know. It's not a secret, but
like my mom's gravy or sauce. Some people say the spaghetti has different kinds of meat in it. Like there's the brajol in it and the sausage and all of that's all in there. It's delicious.
The what?
Sausage.
The sausage.
Yeah, you want a piece of my sausage?
Sausage. Is that really how it's said?
That's Italio-American, yeah, and that's also how we would say like, "Hey, she came over, she took a bite of the sausage," and
I mean, I would. I would. I like
all of those meats. That's what we also call our dicks. We also say, "Hey, what's up? I got my brajol over here."
It's really like that.
You know what else they used to say? And I never heard this anywhere else. But they'd be like, that guy's half a fag, right? They would say half a fag.
Why
like,
half?
I think it's like, oh, yeah. Did you see what he bought his wife for Valentine's Day? A beautiful diamond necklace and a bouquet of flowers? Yeah, but he's half a fag.
I love that.
Right? I want to reclaim it somehow.
I
be like,
love it.
Half a fag moving company will pack your shit,
Yeah. I love that.
I know.
Fag. What are some other things? Well, people say like somebody's got sugar in their tank.
Right. Well, Finocchio, which sounds like Pinocchio, right? Is the it's fennel. And that's a name for a fag. It's like a fairy, like a Finocchio. I'm not sure if that's what the Pope's been saying lately because he's been saying some kind of slur, but it might be that, yeah.
Well, they used to have a show.
You guys have mariposa, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of like that.
Maricon.
But mariposa is a butterfly, but it's also like a fairy, right?
It is like it's like winged.
Right, so that's what this would be like. Like a Finocchio is kind of like Finocchio is kind of like saying like you're a little fairy kind of.
Well, there used to be a family in San Francisco that had a bar called Finocchio's, and it was a drag bar.
That's it.
Yeah.
So there was a place in Fort Lauderdale called the Copa. Have you heard of the Copa? So the Copa is where I got my gay awakening, and it was from a drag queen named Electra.
Okay.
Jim Buff, still very famous, legendary drag queen in Miami.
Yeah.
But Electra's old partner was in a
Why does that seem like somebody I knew on MySpace?
You might.
I really think so.
Her thing is Bet. She does a really amazing bette-midler.
Electra.
Yes.
Okay, I know what you're talking about.
So Electra was like, "You've never been to a gay bar?" And I was like, "No." And so Electra took me out to see everything for the first time, and that was like my introduction to like the drag scene and drag queens, and I've never been the same.
If you had to do a celebrity impersonation, who do you think? And it had to be a woman.
Oh, it had to be a woman.
For like, we're gonna put you in Snatch Game.
Maybe Super Nanny. I think that would be like a good one for me. Like a Joe Frost. Like you're gonna get in the naughty spots. Like I think I could get into her. I was just thinking, I hate that you're asking me this now because I was gonna do Snatch Game on Celebrity Drag Race, but they cut me the week before. You cut the comedian the week before.
Right. But
I think I was gonna do Rip Taylor.
Okay.
But I feel like they didn't want to clean up the confetti, so they just cut me from the show.
Yeah. That could be.
There were like 2 garbage bags of confetti he asked for. Let's just cut
that. Could be. I don't even know how. I mean, obviously, the ins and outs of Celebrity Drag Race, and I'm always curious as to how that runs versus how an episode of Drag Race runs.
It was really hard, but
I bet.
First of all, Mama, I'm an 18 wide female shoe.
Wow.
So they didn't have those. So they were giving me 16s and heat gunning them to try to fit on me.
Well, they could have very easily had those made.
Yeah, but I don't think they thought I was going to last that long on the show. You know what I mean?
But I mean, they put a lot of money into that show. They could very easily have a pair of shoes made right here, Dandy Shoes, anywhere.
I was asking for it. I was begging for it, And then it was really hard. One thing I have to have respect for all you queens that I always say when people ask me about that show is the race element of Drag Race. I think is very undervalued and not appreciated. Like every 3 days was a week and it was like exhausting and you don't sleep. Like I was, going in on the first day and like choreographing and like learning numbers, and it's very different when you're in competition because I'm not like the best dancer. I can move, but I'd be like, okay, 5, 6, 7, 8, got it, and then you turn to your partner and you go, what's that number? But when you're competition, everyone disperses and walks away and you're left alone trying to figure out what you got to do for your number. So that was like frustrating, trying to figure that part out, and just like not sleeping, and then
Well, you're not even have the sure footing. I mean, I think I go back to that just because I do think when anybody is like a special size when it comes to a shoe or a costume. I mean, I know when I was on Drag Race, they had like the workout wear or whatever, and they had tons of stuff for the quote average sized girl. But then anybody that was over a 14, there was nothing.
That's
and so
the thing. I've dealt with being a big man. I love who I am. Like,
sure.
But I did not deal with what it was like to be a big woman. Like, it was a whole new thing. And you were asking me earlier if Donna Bellissimo was my mom. It was more like a celebration of my femininity because I had always been pushed into like, you know, being masculine coded my whole life, that I was able to just be like, oh, you know. But I think that was the hard part for me, was like realizing, oh, you know, here's somebody like Mark Indelicato, who is thirsty Von Trapp, who could like bend over and fold into a pretzel and fits in shoes that she bought off the rack, and you know, and I'm here and they're like heat gunning like a flat. And I'm like being like, shh, and they're like taping me, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And then pushing me out there. And then having to lift my leg with all that padding and tights on is so much harder than lifting a normal leg.
Yeah.
Like, I could probably kick higher in normal life, but I couldn't even get my feet up.
Sure.
You know, and it was just like so many things were just like harder, and I had such respect.
One thing I don't think people understand is like your center of balance is so much different when you're in drag, especially if you are a big person.
Or in a breastplate. I didn't like the breastplates because of that.
Right? And then if you're wearing even just a little bit of an elevation in a shoe, everything moves forward. So then you're trying to pull everything back. So then these like new sort of muscle groups that maybe you don't always use because you don't walk that way.
Here's the thing too.
Or dance that way.
I found like a 17 heel that was really high that I could fit in. And I looked kind of, it was good. But the heel wouldn't have supported me. It would have broken beneath me if I'm dancing, jumping off stairs, all these things I had to do that I needed like a thick heel in the back.
Sure. But
they couldn't find the combination of the high plus the thick to fit me. It was like either you're going low and thick, or, you know, so, and all they did was harass me about my shoes. I wanted to be like, Mom, like Mama Ru, you got the whole Hogwarts and wizardry and faggotry back here, and they can't find a pair of shoes that fit me. Like, and you know, it's your fault. Like, otherwise I would slay. But I mean, I had a great time, and I would honestly do it in a heartbeat again. Like,
you would kill it because again, they always had a positive thing to say about you, which was you are an entertainer. People are entertained.
You know what's weird about that show that people don't know? They put you in a little tiny tent backstage, and you can't watch anyone else's performance. You don't know what they look like, what anyone's wearing. Yeah. So that was really difficult for me because I like to size up my competition.
Sure.
I am a competitive hoe, and I was sitting there being like, I love every single person that was on this show. Nobody was a diva. Everybody was nice, but I hated certain characters because I wanted them kicked off.
Sure.
You know.
Sure.
I'm not good in that setting as much as I thought I would be. I was doing like the Jansport, like I was cracking, you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a competitor.
And even Claren was like, you're doing that thing that some queens do where they crack and they fit. Because I was sitting there one day and they were like, I'm like sitting there with no shoes on, you know, because they didn't have the shoes that fit. And then I see like some of the wardrobe people being like, we got your shoes over here. And I'm like, oh, they finally got my shoes. And they're waiting for a break and they run in the shoes and I'm trying to put them on and they're a size smaller than the ones I had on already. And I'm like, are you trying to sabotage me? Like, I would like lose it. No sleep. It was no sleep. And when I fall asleep, I'd be listening to lip sync for the live song, and then waking up at 6 a.m. and going back to set again. Like,
reality shows are such an interesting place of gaslighting and making people.
That was my first one.
And they love this whole idea is like this. They've just said it. I was just watching Drag Race. They said, I love watching you in this process. We break you down to build you up. And I always think, you're not a fucking counselor. What makes you think when you tap into something and you do that to somebody, you have no idea where these people, just because they
one thing I have to give them props on though, which I didn't even expect, was like, they were like, when I got released from the show, they're like, do you want to talk to a therapist? Do you need anything? They have aftercare for the queens, which I don't think
Would
they
you
probably
like
had
this
in your
Band-Aid
day.
For fucking ruining your life? Here, can you use this? Have this. We just shamed you in front of everyone.
Oh, I'm glad you're doing that right now. When you did an Untucked, when you were like, please pick me, that whole thing, I respect that so much because I hate that energy. I'm not a fucking pick me. That's why I don't audition for commercials. I would go into like commercial auditions and actors would be like, they said dress Jersey. Oh, is this Jersey enough? Like, and be like, I'd be like, oh, just read the fucking lines already. Like, you know what I mean? I don't have that desperation. I'm like, give it to the other guy. He wants it so bad. And maybe I'd work more if I was a little more desperate.
I'm not doing it.
I'm not.
I'm not doing
and
it.
And every time I've, you know, that's why I'm so grateful that I have discovered stand-up because I make most of my money doing stand-up now, and I don't have to. That's why I don't make a lot of movies, because like I'll make a movie when it's right, when they want me and I want it. Like I'm not, because I've done shitty movies in the past where I just needed rent, and then the next thing I know, a casting director's like, "Oh, I was going to cast you as this lead in this really excellent movie, but you were away doing that other thing." So I was like taking jobs to survive and then missing opportunities that were actually probably meant for me.
Right.
Never again.
Right.
I'm not just gonna make a bunch of crap. You know?
We're not going to make a bunch of crap.
No, we're not making crap, okay? We're going to be on Very Delta because it's high class.
Let's take a break. We are back with Danny Franzese. Let me see it again. We are back with Danny Franzese. Why do I keep saying it the wrong way? We are back with Danny.
Am I taking too much space in your mouth?
What is it? The sausage. Sausage. We are back with Danny Sausage in my mouth. We are back with Danny Franzese. Not Franzese. Not Franz or Coppola.
It's Franzese with a Z, not Franzese with a C.
It's Lisa with an S, not Liza with a Z. It's Lisa with a...
Blame it on Papa. He was Italian.
What is that? Oh, it's just from Liza with a Z.
Yeah.
Okay. This is the part of the show called Read Me Delta.
Yes.
You get it.
Mm-hmm.
People write in letters, and if you want to write one in, write it to readmedelta@gmail.com. Questions, queries, advice, anything like that. Read Me Delta! Dear Ms. Work and guests, Ms. Work. I was a high IQ art kid with bleached out platinum hair, rocking goth industrial style, wearing Dior's Fahrenheit, while telling myself that I was the rebellious teenage leading man starring in a lonely love story directed by God on location in suburban hell. I was the best dressed 15-year-old anti-hero speeding towards nothing, and the soundtrack was fucking amazing. I was also a little queer, looking for love and romance where none existed. I found like-minded rebels in the punk and goth scene, my tribe. My Lost Boys, before I was old enough to legally get into all ages goth clubs. I'd add years to my student ID just to fake my age. You remind me of the rad older girls I met there. They'd hover together in a cloud of untouchable cool and clove cigarettes. Dressed in sleek perfection, ruby woo matte lipstick and Chanel's Vamp, black winged eyes perpetually scanning for handsome faces and new adventure. They seemed like total ice queens until they accepted you, took you in and loved you. Then they'd be the fiercest supporters, meanest defenders, and the most beautiful role models. So I guess my question is, want to dance? They're playing Sex on Wheels, and I love this song. Were you an underage punk rock anti-hero like me? Sincerely, Eve Navant. Were you an underage punk anti-hero?
No, I was a musical theater kid.
Yeah.
I worked at Famous Footwear. In the Sawgrass Mills Mall, and every paycheck I would go to the Tower Records and I would get a musical I never heard of, and then I would play it, and I don't know why, but I would write it on the back of a paper plate.
Okay.
I would write all the lyrics down, and I would learn musicals by myself. That was my time. That was what I was doing my free time if I wasn't in rehearsal for a play. I know it's lame.
No, I think it's really cool. I do. I think it's really cool. I did plays in high school. I wish I was this person that you describe. I think it's really sickening and chic and beautiful. I was not that person.
Yeah, cool.
That person is so cool. I was the editor of the paper. I was on the King of Hearts court.
Okay.
Come
on, King of Hearts.
King of Hearts. I was drama club president for one season.
Okay, I'll take it. Can we?
Yeah.
May I? Thank you.
Yeah, I was that. And I did an awful job in Noel Coward's Private Lives. And in that play on the opening night, my pants completely ripped open down the complete back, and I had
so much for a private life.
Yeah, and I had to just do the play like that. You know what I did? I worked in the snack shack, which is, we had like a cafeteria and then we had a snack shack, which was like
chips and
all the cool stuff. Yeah, I worked in there, and so
nachos.
Anytime I wanted to, and that was my favorite thing to do was nachos.
You would love this.
Okay, tell me.
My mom was the salad bar lady. And she would bring garlic powder and real olive oil to hook up the salad bar at school.
Yes.
Her salad, they didn't understand why the salad bar line was all the way around the corner. She'd hook it up.
It was so good. Oh my God.
She would hook it up. Because, you know, whenever they try to give you oil and, let's talk about this. Whenever they try to give you oil and vinegar at a restaurant, why are they giving you like vegetable oil? It's never like a good olive oil.
Yeah.
It's never a good olive oil, ever.
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
That doesn't make sense to me.
What kind of salad dressing do you like on a salad?
Oil and vinegar.
That's it.
I don't want any of their packaged dressings. Their Italian dressing is not Italian. It's weird.
You don't want ranch dressing?
Ranch maybe, but I feel like it's a lot on my lettuce. Like it's it masks. And I know you're a condiment queen, and I appreciate you and I respect you, and I'll hold space for you on that. But there was a commercial when I was a kid, and it was like, don't drown your food, and it was like a piece of broccoli that looked like it was being drowned. I fell for that, and I don't know. I just was like, I don't want to. Even my fries, I don't want too much ketchup. I don't even like. I like things to be like in their natural state, in their forms. You know, certain things come with like a bloomin' onion. I want that sauce, that whatever that orange sauce is. I like that.
That sounds.
My mouth is watering so bad. I feel like I'm gonna gleek. Can you gleek?
I used to be able to. I can't do it.
I only
now.
do it by accident, like when I'm doing stand up and I spit on people in the front row by accident.
Oh, I always spit. That's why I always say to Doug and Margot when we're doing this, I'm like, can you see this? Like,
I was always jealous that people could be like, and just like shoot like a freaking velociraptor.
I can't do it. Do you swallow?
Huh? What?
Does your throat
I
work?
could. You know what? I get a whole bunch of pills like this and no water. I can just be like,
oh no. I can't do it. Dear Delta and iconic guest.
They knew I was here.
How do you feel about lettuce wraps? I love a good sub sandwich, but I've been trying to watch my figure, and every time I try to make healthy choices of lettuce wrapping my sub rather than eating it on bread, I just can't make myself do it. Do you also detest the concept of lettuce wrap submarine sandwiches? Is it even a real sub sandwich if it isn't on bread? Much love, Sandwich Samantha.
I'll tell you right now, one thing I do eat with lettuce a burger is a slider, because those buns are never good.
They're not good.
Unless it's a Hawaiian roll, get it away from me.
I love Hawaiian rolls.
I love a Hawaiian roll.
Yeah, I do.
But those like little slider things, they're always like these little hockey pucks. And they ruin the flavor of everything. So I like to get lettuce with those. I'm into that. But I like sourdough bread, and it doesn't have sugar in it, so I could actually eat that now. So I'm always augmenting the sandwich. I'm scouring the menu for a sourdough and saying, I will take the whatever melt, but I'd like it with sourdough, please. And so I recommend, if you're not a lettuce wrap girly, then probably go for the sourdough.
I actually like a lettuce wrap. I think they're really good. One of my favorite lettuce things in general is getting like a spring roll or whatever those, you know, those ones that like
larb. Do you know larb?
Yes.
I love larb and a lettuce.
That is so
in
good.
a lettuce canoe.
A canoe.
You know what I mean? Like when it's like a big piece of, it's just like.
I like that. I remember when I first started going to like pho restaurants, and you would get like the fried, I don't know if it's a spring roll or I think it's a spring roll, and there would be lettuce there. I thought it was just for decoration. I didn't realize you were supposed to set it in there and eat it together.
Oh, are you?
Yeah, and it sort of helps with the greasiness.
You're making me so hungry.
That sounds so correct.
I know.
Right?
I'm living. Yeah.
Yeah. I like pho. I would like to have that right now. I would like to have lettuce wraps. And then what are the ones in the sheer?
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like the clear ones that they're like a little chewy, like in that. Like,
and there's like shrimp in there.
Yeah, I like those.
And I love that.
And in the peanut sauce?
In the peanut sauce.
I'm into it.
See, I need more peanut sauce. Sometimes it's a little stingy. Like
that's where you have to have a sauce, because otherwise, what are you eating? You're eating like a condom with like some lettuce in it.
We could have different kinds of Asian food. But I know that you like to celebrate your birthday every year with Taco Bell.
Yeah, I do.
Why Taco Bell specifically, and what's your order?
First of all, I love Taco Bell. I like a Crave Box. I like a little bit. I do not want those cinnamon things though. I always sub the cinnamon things out for the chips with the cheese.
They're not all that. Those cinnamon things. They're really not.
It's all right. I'm not a dessert person.
Do you drink sodas at all or anything like that?
I love a Diet Coke.
Yeah.
I love a Diet Coke. I love seltzers. I always have a bevy of drinks. I love the Snapple peach sugar-free.
Oh, it's so good.
And the raspberry. I love those.
I love that. Thank you for coming here and being an old biddy with me.
I am so happy to be here.
This is so fun.
I would love to come back anytime. I
love it.
I waited so long for this moment. It feels like when I finally got to get to Disneyland when I was like in middle school. It's just like everything.
I can't wait to get together and talk about Jesus and Jeebus.
Yes.
And I want to know, where did Jesus really leave his sandals? You know what I mean?
Let's
like
talk
that's,
about
we
it.
should
Let's talk
find
about
out.
all the different kinds of sandals that
Yeah.
Jesus could have worn.
I think so.
Yeah, we're on a summer break, but we're gonna have you back when we bring the show back.
I like that.
Yash
I like
Jesus
that.
Pod.
I think it's exciting. I think it's good. And I think more people should talk about it. Thank you so much for listening and watching Very Delta. Our show comes out every Monday. Subscribe to Mom Podcast YouTube channel and turn on your notifications so you never miss an episode. Search for Very Delta on your favorite podcast apps to listen to the audio-only version if you can't take all of this sausage. You can also sign up for our premium offerings on Mom Plus Gold by visiting mompodcast.plus, where you get weekly episodes of more Very Delta. Don't forget to send all of your questions to readmedelta@gmail.com. You can follow me on Instagram @DeltaWork. And where can people find you on social media?
You can find me on Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, blackpeoplemeet.com, JDate, Farmers Only, and Venmo at What's Up Danny, and Snapchat if you're nasty.
I like that.
Yeah, and then on YouTube, I'm MyTube. That's the one place I'm different. MyTube.
You better remember that and look that up. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
What a pleasure.
Thank you. We'll see you next week. And until then, keep things very Delta. Very Delta is produced by Moguls of Media, aka Mom. Hosted by Delta Work. Produced and edited by Doug Robertson. Technical direction by Margot Padilla. With original theme music by Will Pitts. Media and design support by Stone Cold. And set design by Eris Sevilla. Executive produced by Alaska, Willem, Big Dipper, Camille Stennis, and Joe Cilio. Recorded at Forever Dog Productions. Do you want to see me go home?
Mom!
To listen to Very Delta ad-free, one day early, and to get access to more Very Delta and all of Mom Podcast's premium content, check out Mom Plus Gold at mompodcast.plus.